I'm going to be real. I am disappointed because I am a fan of Rick and Morty. I'm not really necessarily a nihilistic human being, and I get that there's a lot of positive nihilism to the show, and it's got a really good think tank behind it. And I do appreciate the message, and I do enjoy the animation. I enjoy everything that goes into the show. But seeing this Justin Roiland controversy, part of me really is not surprised. And I am looking at these messages that are circulating throughout the internet, and it looks like it's a slam shut case that he is guilty, because a lot of the what's confirmed are the inappropriate messages to fans. So when I see other accusations that are far more criminal, which you guys should look into it, I don't want to go into it because it's just horrible to see that someone who we should look up to as a creator and as a celebrity can be capable of some of these things. It just hurts. And as a fan, I encourage a lot of people to not stick up for these alleged behaviors or try and make excuses for him, because we do have a problem with celebrity worship. And I'm not saying this is everybody, you know who you are, but if you're a person who is still sticking up for him and trying to make excuses for Justin, I really recommend that you guys stop, because you guys need to, stop putting these people on a pedestal, because they might make great art, but when they have horrible personal lives that just have criminal activity, I gotta say, man, you guys really need to check yourself. Because celebrities are people just like you and me. Now, they might have money, status, wealth, and everything like that, but that doesn't mean they should get away with harming normal, everyday people and getting away with it in any way, shape, or form, whether it's psychological or physical. Because if someone I really looked up to, like in my case, Tony Ferguson from the UFC, I always ask myself, what would Tony do when my life gets a little bleak, right? Like, I draw life inspiration from him because he's just a guy that does not care what anyone else thinks, and his style's so crazy. It was so crazy, but I look at his prime years, and just he was such an inspiration in my early 20s when I had a lot of confusion and needed a lot of direction. And like I said, if I were to see something bad about him, like there was even a time with domestic abuse charges where I was like, wow, this is looking really bad for Tony Ferguson. But it turns out that in context of this story, there was a lot of, way for him to get off the hook, because his wife did say he's a good husband and a father, but he had some psychological issues from paranoia, mainly because the UFC organization was treating him like absolute garbage. So I was able to forgive that. But when I first saw domestic abuse, what I was doing was I was looking into it, and before looking into the details, I was like, I might have to stop hanging around Tony, and it was horrible. But with Justin Roiland, it's like there's not really a whole lot of wiggle room. His wife isn't really, vouching for him. No one's urging for him to get help. In fact, a lot of people are hoping he goes to prison. And if all this is true, that is some very criminal stuff, because it does need to be proven, but the evidence is overwhelming when you look at that. And I think the fact that so many people are bailing on Rick and Morty as a show, it does say a lot that this celebrity worship isn't as widespread as I thought it was going to be. But there might be some select few people who are just there to stick up for Justin no matter what he does, because he's probably just an idol to them. And it's hard to smash your idols. But you got to also ask yourself, to get to a high position like celebrityship status, what kind of things do you have to do to make it there? And I'm not like saying like, oh, sell your soul to the devil or anything like that. But I'm saying, like, what kind of person were they to other people that got them in this stage? Because there's a very big difference with these celebrities, like the face and the way they are marketed versus who they actually are as human beings. And I really hope people take that to heart, because they are people, and they are very capable of crime and bad things. But also, there are a lot of high status people who have done really questionable things to get to where they are at. In fact, that's why they say Hollywood is one of the most cutthroat industries out there. It's because it is like a game of Assassin's Creed online. Like everyone's sneaking around, everyone's trying to stab each other in the back, and it is kill or be killed. I remember when I used to act. I never got on any huge things. I did some low grade like TV stuff, but when I was acting, I did not feel comfortable because it felt like I always had to walk over my shoulder. There was um, no crazy selling souls that I could see, but just the people you were around that were just very narcissistic, vain, and willing to do the kinds of things that Justin is accused of. I'm gonna be honest. I actually fully believe that these accusations are true. And it's just very disturbing when you look at all the stuff that's circulating all over the internet. But bottom line is, guys, if you are still sticking up for Justin Roiland, you guys need to stop because we need to hold celebrities just as accountable as we are everyday people. I don't think it matters if they have a good show. It doesn't matter if they have good music. In fact, honestly, sometimes I can't listen to music if I know that the person's a piece of garbage. And also, I don't like when normal workers are also spit all over because the accusations of how people were treated on their staff by the creators of the show, it kind of seemed like that whole crew, like the heads of that crew was just dirty and they were sacrificing their workers for the greater, not metaphorically speaking, for a good show. And as much as I enjoyed the show, right? It just seems like Justin Roiland is more of a Jerry than a Rick right now. And until we see otherwise, I really hope that he doesn't get away if he even in being guilty, because that would just be horrible. And I feel really bad for their victims and everything like that, like all the abuse charges and stuff that are coming out. Time's only going to tell how this is, but this is hard for me as a person who appreciates the art of Rick and Morty. Uh, but like I said, guys, you guys got to stop worshiping the celebrities. And one of the things that I say, don't put anybody on a pedestal. But thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time.